Hello, everyone. I see people jumping on. Let's just give it a couple of minutes before we get into the most important people that are here. But super excited to have everyone join us tonight for the LifeVantage Why Now call. Especially if we have guests on. We are so happy you're here with us tonight. Take notes. You're going to learn some really fun information. But to kick us off, we have our amazing friend, Candy Kreslek, that's going to introduce our speaker, and then we'll let the speaker go ahead and take over.
Hey everybody, this is Candy Kreslak, and I've been with this company for about 5.5 years, and I had the honor of meeting this amazing, incredible woman probably about 3 years ago, I think is when Angie and I met, and we had an immediate connection. I think when you find people that have that same vision and have that same mission of truly adding value to people, lifting people up, empowering people, helping people heal on all aspects of their life. Like, I just adore her. And so I want to read you guys her bio because she is just an incredible woman. Angie has 5 grown sons. She does not look old enough to have 5 grown sons. She has 2 grandsons, and she's been married to her best friend Chad for over 30 years. She is a passionate advocate of emotional, relational, financial, physical wellness. Her heart is for others to know they are powerful in their own health journeys and the journeys of those that they love. She has partnered with LifeVantage for the past 8.5 years. She's an executive consultant, which is so amazing, and a diamond seller with a quite diverse background, including a dance career. She's a published author, has owned businesses, worked in ministry, nonprofit, and the corporate world. So definitely diverse. This business for Angie is her absolute favorite, and she's so grateful now to be living life for her team. And you guys, really, what I want to tell you is this woman, I love her dearly, and she is one of the most passionate, caring, compassionate leaders that I have ever met. She pours her heart and soul into everything that she does for everyone, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear from her. So I get to introduce Miss Angie Huntley.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Candy. I adore you. It's one of the many treasures. I can never say, this is what I love most about LifeVantage. There's so many things, but one of them is you. And I'm just so grateful that LifeVantage brought us together at that training at Growth Summit 3 years ago. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight, for carving out time to be here, to hear about why LifeVantage, why now. And undoubtedly, many of you are here because you are answering maybe a third or fourth invitation, maybe more. I know the first time I heard about it almost 9 years ago, it took my dear friend several tries to get me to get in front of this information. And I'm so grateful that I did. But I will tell you, I wasn't very open, and I was very weary and skeptical and overextended, all the things. But she got me to listen. And so if that's you today, if you're here and you really didn't want to be, and you're a little bit skeptical and you're a little bit weary and you just don't think you have time for this, you're in the right place, because I can relate. And it was just what I needed. 8.5 years ago, I was executive director of a nonprofit here in my hometown of Kalamazoo, Michigan. And my family and I were opening a franchise restaurant. Those two things are a lot. At that time, we were also adding into our family a 15-year-old as our fifth son, and he had been through cyclical severe trauma, and that was a lot. And we were also, as a family, going through health challenges and a health crisis. And I was exhausted. And I really had spent months and months and months, close to a year, looking for answers. And I was weary. I felt like I had tried everything. I really thought I had heard about everything. And I know a lot of people that I have the privilege of talking to about LifeVantage feel the same way. They feel like they've heard everything. What can you tell me that's new and different? And so I'm glad you're in the right place, because you know what? You should be skeptical. Every time I talk to people, I say, in the world today, there's so much out there. There's so many things that are like wolves in sheep's clothing. We look at different products that promise this and that, and you should have a skeptical eye. You should be filtering it through, looking for validation and asking questions, and it should be able to surpass scrutiny. And it's part of why I feel so privileged to represent LifeVantage and talk to you about it today, because that it does. So 8.5 years ago, my dear friend Chanel had come to me many times wanting to get my attention, feeling that it might be something helpful for what my family was going through. And although I didn't want to listen to her, there was one day between her and her husband reaching out where she said a few things that got my attention. Chanel runs an adult foster care home that she cares deeply for every single resident in that home. And the overseeing physician is actually who shared this with her and said, hey, I'd like you to take a look at this. I really would love to see every resident utilize this. I'd love to see you integrate it. And she researched it because she takes her business and her care for people very seriously. And I trusted her. You know what? I needed that trusted voice. And I trusted her because when she says she did her research, I knew not only that she did it, but I knew, wow, there must be a lot of research for her to look into. And then she started sharing with me what she was seeing as she had been implementing it. And it kind of sparked this question of, wow, that does seem a little different. And ultimately, we want to say, well, it must be like this, or it must be like that. And the answer is usually no, because we've kind of cornered with LifeVantage something very, very different, which it's my joy to share with you. And so in that moment, when I sat and listened to the information like you're listening to today with my arms crossed and a very skeptical mindset, I had on two hats because, as Candy talked about my experience, I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I've owned different businesses and run organizations. And so it's hard for me not to hear things through a business mindset. And my business experience and what I get involved with is usually what I'm passionate about, helping people, about giving them tools that give them an advantage, whether it's relationally, spiritually, mentally, physically, or financially. So as I heard the information, I kind of had on two hats where I thought, wow, this is really amazing. If this is half of what it says it is, what a wonderful advantage to give our bodies. What an advantage to have in our health and wellness tool belt. But on the other hand, a little kind of anger and frustration rose up in me, like, why haven't I heard about this before? And that rises up in me in different times in my life where I kind of feel drawn to a mission. And if people haven't heard about this and people don't know about this, then they need to. And so I jumped into the business at that same time, which was crazy. I know I was doing too much. I was overextended, but this type of business allowed me to slowly grow our business, even though we had a restaurant, which if any of you out there are restaurant owners, like our restaurant owned me. And we had remortgaged our house to start this restaurant. The expenses every month between rent and employees and insurance, they were massive. And that was before I would ever get paid. And if you've ever owned a business, you're the last to get paid. And so I had this interesting comparison between the two different business models that made me even more passionate about this. And so how we're different, I kind of want to introduce you to what we have and what sets us apart and who we are as a company and what we specialize in. So Candy and I, as we work together representing LifeVantage, we represent LifeVantage, and it's a biotech company. We have pioneered and specialized in a science that is kind of our own. It's called nutrigenomics, and very specifically nutrigenomic activation. Now, that probably sounds new to you, and I just want to introduce it to you enough so that everything else I show you tonight makes a little more sense. So I'm going to walk you through a couple analogies. First of all, I want to break down nutrigenomics. Most of you are familiar with nutritional components that are formulated together, and you usually are going to be drawn to call them supplements, right? You're familiar with supplements. You're used to taking something that you're lacking, like if you're lacking iron, You want to take an iron supplement. And as a company, we believe in supplementation. There's supportive supplementation, there's essential supplementation that you need. And we have supportive supplements in our product line, but everything we do supplementally, we revolutionize how it's done. And it makes me appreciate LifeVantage and that part of its product line more. But our sweet spot, our foundation is activation. We are the activation company. And so I want to draw you in a little bit to what it is, because again, we take those nutritional components, we formulate them in such a way that instead of supplementing where there's lack in your body, they turn on something that's off, like flipping a switch. And so that's the nutritional part of that word, nutrigenomics. The second part, genomics, refers to your DNA. And your DNA is something that quite possibly, usually when I'm in a room with people and I ask them, how many of you are blaming your DNA for all kinds of things with your health and your lifespan? And everyone raises their hand. Many of us blame our DNA on everything. But what many people don't know is that only 20% of your DNA is active. So that thing that you're blaming on everything, 80% of it isn't doing anything right now. 20% is moving and grooving, 80% nothing. We call it dormant. Only 2% of your DNA is coded, meaning in that 2%, it has defined the fact that I'm 5'9", I have brown eyes, there's nothing I can do about it, no amount of supplementation is going to make me petite and 5'2", this is who I am. And 98% of your DNA is influenceable. And what's really neat about that is that you are influencing it right now. If you had a cigarette today, if you've eaten processed foods, if you've eaten whole foods, if you've exercised, have you eaten broccoli? All of these things kind of shift a little bit your DNA. But what we found with nutrigenomic activation is in that 80% of your DNA that's just kind of sleeping, some of those pathways in your DNA are responsible for really, really wonderful things. And sometimes when we talk about this, and this was my first inclination when I heard about it, I'm like, that kind of sounds too good to be true. And I always want you to know that our bodies are that good. It's not necessarily our product, it's our bodies that are so magnificently programmed and made that we have the ability and the capacity to capitalize on things that we don't even know are there yet, part of that 80%. So I want you to think of your DNA right now for the rest of this call. I want you to think of your DNA like this cell phone. So this is my cell phone, and all of you probably know that it's capable of a lot more than it's doing right now. It's only doing not even 20%. But for the sake of the analogy, let's just compare your DNA to the cell phone. You can all think of things that my cell phone is capable of that I'm not utilizing right now. In fact, some of you might know things that my cell phone does that I don't even know, right? Like, did you know your cell phone has a level? I didn't know that until someone showed me, and then I could use it. And when we think in terms of our DNA, it's really easy to just succumb to that thought of, well, I guess my cell phone doesn't have a level. No one in my family's cell phone has a level, so I guess I'm just never meant to have a level. Instead of someone looking at a function like a flashlight. If someone said to me before I knew that my cell phone had a flashlight, and they said, hey, Angie, your cell phone has a flashlight, it would be easy for me to have that mindset. I guess I'm just not meant to have a flashlight. And someone who knows better might say, hey, Angie, your phone is programmed to light up and your power's on and your battery's charged and you have a bulb. And so I'm just going to show you how to turn it on. And if they show me like where the switch is, then all of a sudden it does what it was programmed and created to do. And that is activation. If you can think of your DNA like a cell phone, our nutritional formulations are formulated in such a way, and they know what switches to flip to turn on pathways that really work for your body and are ways and means to give your body an advantage in your health and wellness journey. So I'm going to put that little analogy of a cell phone on a shelf, and I'm going to draw you into another analogy. So I want you to just think about maybe health challenges that you've had in your life. Some of them have names, some of them don't have names. Some of them are health challenges that you never want. Some of them are health challenges that people that you love have. And I want you to think of those health challenges, whatever they are. If some of you may have a list of 20 and some of you may have a list of 2 or 1, but whatever they are, I want you to think of them being represented by a tabletop, the top of a 4-legged table. So I think all of us can envision a four-legged table, right? And we've all really been instructed all our life and conditioned to manage the tabletop. And we clean it and we shine it and we paint it and we stain it. We might cut out a blemish. We might graft a new piece in to make it better, but we really, really focus on the health challenge, right? We focus on the unwellness. And so decades ago, a team of scientists recognized this truth. And a lot of us don't know this. I didn't know this 9 years ago. But no matter what the health challenge is, no matter what vulnerabilities are happening as we age, those are represented by the tabletop as well, that they all have the same common dysfunctions within the cell that are supporting it. So we're going to let those be represented by the legs, right? So instead of focusing on the tabletop, this team of scientists said, what if we focused on the legs? What if we took away the support for the tabletop? If there's dysfunctions in the cell that are supporting and they are common with all health challenges, man, let's like right now I'm at a table, you guys, and if I knocked one leg off that table, my computer's tipping over. What if I knocked off two? I would no longer even be able to call it a tabletop. I'd have to call it something else. It would lose its properties and strength as we knew it before. And that's where like the magic sauce comes in. It's phenomenal. And so LifeVantage and nutrigenomic activation and their focus is focusing on the legs, which was actually really, really refreshing to me to see, wow, there's something we can do underneath it to give ourselves an advantage to create a healthy cell. Now, we talked about those dysfunctions within the cell. We have a phrase around here that says, to get well, fix the cell. And your DNA has incredible power to focus on those legs, right? And we are able to activate them through nutrition, through nutritional components. It's incredibly exciting, and you can see why I get passionate about sharing. So I'm going to share my screen really quick so I can share with you just a little more. Let's go from beginning, or I'm sorry, whoops. Bear with me. For those of you who ever lead Zooms, you have to know that sometimes you just have to think, wow, am I going to get to my screen share with no glitches? No. So thank you. Thanks for your grace in this moment. And here we go. We don't need the last slide. However, it keeps coming up. So give me just 1 second. Sorry about this, Kim. It'll be so fast.
You are great, Angie.
Oh my gosh.
No. I
Okay.
think you're great.
Oh, now we're going to have it. All right, let's go slideshow. And beginning. Okay.
Perfect.
There. All right. So LifeVantage is this company that I'm so very honored to get to represent. And honestly, because I had that emotion the first time I heard about it, that emotion that rose up that thought, my gosh, everyone needs to know about this. I really think my mission here is to let you know that this is an option in your life. What you do with that knowledge is up to you. But we, make no mistake, are the activation company. That is what we have pioneered, and that is what we have specialized in. And that's why when people say, oh, it's like this product or that product, I can usually say no, because we are activating the body to make something that targets those dysfunctions instead of supplementing where there's lack. LifeVantage has incredible leadership. We have been highly recognized, featured on ABC Primetime Investigative Report. Last May, we had an article that featured us in Newsweek when they were laying out different scientific breakthroughs that are going on in the world, interviewing our CEO, Steve Fife. We're publicly traded on the NASDAQ. Erin Brockovich, if you're old like me, you know that her name carries some weight. If you're young and you don't know that name, look it up. She's on our board of directors, and we're debt-free. I'm so proud to be a part of this company. And part of that activation understanding is that we're taking those nutritional formulations that ignite the power of our DNA to make the things that are combating that dysfunction or balancing those dysfunctions within the cell. So we're empowering our bodies to make super antioxidants, protein enzymes, and the things that we need for better health. And then the reality was, in that moment when I said, wow, what a business opportunity, that is an opportunity to activate my ability to make supplemental income. And for me, it's been really kind of wild to compare to the different businesses that I've been involved in the past. And when we had our first breakthrough years and years and years ago, it really just ignited us on a whole path of developing a product line that was able to locate those pathways in the DNA that target the different dysfunctions. So we have different nutrigenomic activators that target different dysfunctions. And those years ago where it all started, we started with this flagship product, Protandim NRF2. And NRF2 is simply a pathway in your DNA that is responsible for your body's ability to produce and manufacture its own super antioxidants that literally lowers your oxidative stress 1,000,000 times more per cell. You have 37 to 50 trillion cells per cell per second of every day than anything than you can absorb externally, like a supplement or an antioxidant rich food. And if you didn't know, the reason you eat foods rich in antioxidants is because oxidative stress is one of those legs to the table. Oxidative stress is one of those dysfunctions that supports health challenges. And so what a wonderful thing to be able to lower oxidative stress more than any food, drug, or supplement. And what was birthed out of that NRF2 technology were more products. It works on every mammal. So our company produced a pet product that activates their NRF2 and literally eliminates and lessens that leg of the table for them with that struggle. We also have NRF2 formulations topically that have allowed us to step into skincare and hair care and scalp care that is lowering stress oxidation. Again, one of those dysfunctions within the cell. And so we see just incredible things with this very, very unique skincare line. Now we have a whole list of products that work together. We have an activator that increases your mitochondria. We have an activator that activates NAD and increases your sirtuin production. But a couple of years ago, it led us to this gem. We activate the body's ability to manufacture its own collagen. And you've probably seen many collagen supplements, and many people think hair, skin, and nails. But collagen is one of the most prominent proteins in every cell of the body. That includes your brain cells, your heart cells, every connective tissue, and yes, your skin cells. But we're looking again at, how can we hit a leg of the table? So activating a genetic pathway that increases collagen production, activating a genetic pathway that turns on the body's ability to keep that collagen from being lost in an excessive way, which a lot of us are experiencing as we age. And because the body requires 28 different types of collagen, we also supplement with 10 different kinds of collagen. And so we have this incredible activated collagen product. But what we tend to see with our activators is they start to synergize with one another, helping each other to not only be stronger, but sometimes creating a response that isn't even visible in each product separately. And we see that with these two. That's our Protandim NRF2 that I was just referring to on the last slide. And this is our activated collagen. And they make up this amazing synergy called the Healthy Glow Essential Stack. And amongst all the wonderful things they do, which is a lot, we have a cell study, an in vitro study on the synergy of the two. But one thing that I can highlight here is that taking them together significantly reduces cellular stress. And this isn't oxidative stress. This is the stress. When your physician says to you, you really need to start eliminating stress from your life, your cells are holding stress, and being able to significantly reduce that cellular stress is a treasure. And we start to see the beautiful synergy impact your cellular health by taking them together. On the outside, you can really, really see, wow, what a change in her skin. But what I love about this, and you can kind of see that externally when someone is taking these two together, but this gives us an idea of what's happening on the inside in all the different parts of our body, which is so valuable. I mentioned the NRF2 topical, and we do have an activated topical line. This is one of our most recent additions, and it's called True Renew. And it's truly a better than retinol alternative. It's plant-based, it's nutrigenomic, clinically proven to tackle 11 visible signs of aging. And one thing that's incredible is I know a lot of people will invest in skincare because there's things that are good for them. But when you incorporate activation into the formulation, what we've been able to see over and over through evidence is things like a visible change within 21 days. And a lot of people don't have that in their skincare, a visible change where we start to see almost like the appearance of aging backwards. And when you're tackling those things that are underlying in the cell to aging as we know it, as a result, obviously, we're going to start seeing some of that, which is phenomenal. Axio is an activated drink that really targets our brain and neurological health. It activates mental clarity and focus, powers your brain and body, supports positive mood. And one of the things I love about it is we're challenged in our culture with a lot of unhealthy drinks. The energy drink craze right now is taking over and really a culprit in many people's bad health situations. And so having this healthy option, which is actually activating mental clarity and focus. My father passed away from a neurological degenerative disease 20 years ago. And I really came to the understanding for myself that if I don't have brain health, the rest of my health doesn't matter much when your brain is deteriorating. So having wonderful products to help me invest in the longevity of my brain clarity and focus. I want to not only live long, I want my brain to be alert and focused as long as I'm alive. And most recently, we have released a new GLP-1 nutrigenomic activation system, and we call it Mind Body. You're looking at it here. It's a two-part system. And if you've heard the term GLP-1, chances are you've heard about it because pharmaceuticals use that phrase, and a lot of people think it's a pharmaceutical. But GLP-1 is not the name of a pharmaceutical. GLP-1 is the name of an essential hormone that is part of the communication hormones between your gut and your brain. We call that the gut-brain axis. And there's several hormones in that gut-brain axis that needs to cooperate together, but the most popular one is that GLP-1. And those hormones really work together to help our metabolic health, to help our brain in how it thinks about food and how it craves food and our feelings of fullness and our feelings of hunger start to really be influenced, believe it or not, by those hormones. And so in our culture, so many people are frustrated because they're carrying extra weight. They feel like they're doing all the right things. They're changing their diet, they're exercising and thinking, what else can I do? And not realizing that your body may have some deficiencies. Your body might need to take something to make something. And beautifully, we offer that with our mind-body system. Taking our mind-body system activates the genetic pathways that will increase your manufacturing ability of that GLP-1 hormone and can upregulate up to 140% and regulates that hormone, bringing it into balance. And some of those other players, some of those other hormones in that gut-brain axis can get very out of whack, over or underexpressed. And we activate those pathways to kind of make them all behave and cooperate with one another. And we start to see those amazing results that happen when your body's producing what it should be producing. And your systems and your body start to cooperate with one another like a symphony. I mean, can you imagine, or have you ever been to a symphony when they're out of tune and they're tuning? It doesn't sound so good. And for a lot of us, that's why we're struggling. But beautifully, when they start getting tuned and balanced, we start to see the music play. And that's where we see less impulse, balance, and weight loss. And people are noticing that their bodies are being drawn more to what fuels them instead of eating for reward or for comfort, eating when they're not hungry, snacking out of boredom, because it's also affecting how we think about food and our relationship with food. This is my colleague Marcy, and you can see even the transformation, because when you're activating in with our mind body and our GLP-1, we see a 27% drop in visceral fat. If you are not familiar with visceral fat's the dangerous fat. It's the fat that surrounds your organs. And so it's very, very important that that fat gets targeted. A lot of times people can lose other fat, and then that visceral fat's real stubborn. But we not only see the 27% drop in visceral fat, we see that happen with no muscle loss, according to our study. And we're seeing people's BMI shift. We're seeing their muscle mass increase and their fat go down, and their body shapes shifting more into balance, right? I mean, look how amazing Marcy looks. It's incredible. And so with that, that's just a really high level and a scratching the surface of some of the amazingness of our product line. When we're activating our body to produce what it needs, we're doing something that those external sources can't do. And it really helps us be in this place where we don't have competition. We're kind of category creating. There isn't another mind body GLP-1, or there's not another GLP-1 activator out there. But what else can we activate? We kind of like to think of not only are we activating our body, but for me, I was activating an income. We use the word evolve because that's the actual name of our comp plan. We have an incredible compensation plan that really gets activated when you get activated physically and can't help but share. And that's really what happened to me. We started experiencing the power of activation in our bodies as a family, and people around us wanted to know about it. It was a very organic share. And with our comp plan, you can earn by sharing product. If you don't want to build a team, you can build a customer base and allow people to have a way to purchase these products from you and tap into that part of our comp plan. You can build a team and grow a team if that interests you. And that's pretty amazing too, because both of those are thoroughly covered in our compensation plan. And ultimately, we're kind of leading a movement, right? We're helping the world to understand about nutrigenomics and the power they can take back in their health and wellness journey. So if you decide, and if it's kind of in your wheelhouse to be a product sharer, I am. I love to share the product. We have a few different ways that you can get paid. We get paid on the difference between what a customer pays and what a consultant pays. That's our customer sales profit. As we build a customer base, we reach different milestones that increase our pay, and that's our personal sales bonus. But if you're brand new and you don't have that big customer base, the company recognizes that and says, you know what, we want you to start strong and we want you to get paid well. And so in your first 3 full months of being a consultant, if you start working the business and sharing, you're going to qualify for sharing bonuses, which rewards you early. And that's a really big deal because it's nice to win right out of the gate, right? If your heart is to build a team and grow, which is also me, I love to build a team and grow. And one of the things that excites me about building a team is that I kind of want to be a world changer. I don't know if that's any of you, but I want to reach and help people. And that excites me. And my people that I know, there's a lot of them, and I love to help them. But if I have a team member in Pennsylvania, I'm in Michigan. She knows people I can't get to, and she can reach her neighbors that would have never heard my voice. And all of a sudden my reach becomes longer and more powerful. And so we have fantastic level commissions from building a team. So you can do one, you can do the other, or you can do both and with our comp plan. Two of the ways that we get paid in our comp plan, and there's several, but 2 of the ways that I want to highlight are ways that get me quite excited. One, we have something called a leadership match, and the company and the comp plan really encourages mentorship and community and collaboration. And so when I have a team member that I know has goals and I invest in them and I get them to a certain point within our compensation, I get rewarded through something called a leadership match. And the company will match a percentage of that consultant's pay and give it to me as a way of saying, hey, we want you to be compensated for helping this person who needs you. And so then that person doesn't feel like they're an island and they don't feel like they have no support or any help. They don't give me part of their pay, they match a percentage of it. And I love it. It's fantastic. When you reach the executive ranks of our company, which are our highest ranks, so the people who have caught the vision, the people who are working hard, they have access to another part of our comp plan called the leadership pool. And that takes our global profit, not our American profit, not just your team's profit, but the global profit every month. And it takes a share of that and divides that between the executive consultants. And that's a really, really special way to get paid. And it draws on a unity within our company and the community, kind of like you saw with me and Candy. We're not on the same team, but we have such a unity and want to see each other win, because ultimately that aspect of our comp plan encourages us to just want everyone in LifeVantage to win. And that's the kind of organization I love to be a part of. If you want to look at the other aspects of our comp plan, scan this QR code, and it's going to break down the compensation plan for you in great ways. We have incentive trips that are rewarding, and we also have incentive trips like the one Candy and I went on, which is Growth Summit, to train you and reward you for getting to that point. And the company says, we're going to invest in you now. You've worked hard, you've earned this. And so how do you get started? Easily, if you are interested in being a sharer or building a team, you really just start this business by picking what works for you. Any enrollment pack that we have, and we have several that are very versatile, allow you some different options as ways to start the company. I will tell you, unlike my restaurant, you will not have to remortgage your home. So this is a really popular pack called the Multiplier Pack. It gives you 3 of each of our 3 top selling products, the NRF2, the Activated Collagen, and our Mind Body GLP-1. And then you set up a subscription so that you are going to be a product of the product. When you buy an enrollment pack, you get a back office. You get a front office, which is your replicated website where you can share and people can order from you. You get a business management app, and you have the support of corporate, which is customer service, quality control, shipping and distribution, and research and development. The partnership that we have with corporate is something that I have seen in an unparalleled way in any organization I've ever been with. I've never felt that the depths of partnership that we get from our corporate partners at LifeVantage. I kind of am a favorite of, and I prefer this business pack, because if you're serious about the business, you kind of want to be exposed to most of the product line. And the business pack really gives you a taste of all things. And even if you want to just focus on mind body or just focus on skincare, someone's going to get on your website and they're going to ask you about the Axio. And when you start with the business pack, what a wonderful thing to actually say, hey, you know what? I have tried it. I love it. This is how I felt. We have other places to start. So if you want to start with just 2 or 3 products, you can look at the premium pack. You can look at the healthy weight stack if you just want a couple, or the healthy glow pack. What I tell people is you start where you can start. And that's why I love that you have so many options within LifeVantage. So someone invited you here. Let me stop my share. If you have more questions, we encourage you to get in touch with them. Thank you so much for investing this time to get this information. So at least you're exposed now to what is possible. Thank you so much.
Okay, you guys. What an amazing presentation, Angie. Your knowledge is mind-blowing. Thank you. So you guys, we do these calls every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you have guests that you think would be interested, we have different presenters every week. Make sure and get them on this call. And if you are a guest on this call, thank you for joining. And as Angie said, reach out to whoever told you about this call if you have any questions, and we'll go from there. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night.